it looks to me as if David Cameron's working very hard at the moment to make this big society mean something. Um, and I wish him well with that in lots of ways. I think it's a bit empty as a concept. It's a bit vapid, really. My fear is that we're not all in this together equally. Some people are going to be a lot worse hit than others. It beggars belief to imagine that those at the top of the income and capital scales, and those, of course, with high degrees of social and cultural capital, it would beggar belief to imagine that they are going to have the same kind of results. They're going, I think, to be very badly affected by all of this. And I think their lives will be curtailed in the fullness of their living, which is, I think, as a priest, as a Christian, we should be aiming to give people the fullness of life as much as our society can afford to do that.
What was the most common belief about Devonport before the NDC came along? Was its reputation. And Devonport's been the area, that people always talk about, don't go to Devonport, and it's really dangerous and hopeless, and people having very clear experiences of redlining, of discrimination when they're looking for jobs, for example, when they give their address. And one of the changes that's happened with this regeneration programme has been that some of the city's function and infrastructure has moved into Devonport, and that's partly because there was a lot of MOD land which has been decommissioned during the life of the NDC. But had there not been this programme with the powers and opportunities that went with it, a lot of that decommissioning and what it's been recommissioned as wouldn't have happened the way that it has. So, for example, Plymouth Albion has moved into the brickfields, and what was formerly a out-of-bounds sports area and a bit sad is now a splendid stadium, and it's bringing thousands of people, Plymouth people and people from beyond, into this part of the city.
As you probably know, DRCP had this £48.5 million to spend over 10 years. I think the advantage of the time scale was that you could wait for results to happen and then perhaps make adjustments. There wasn't any sense that the organisation was going to close rapidly, so that there was the potential to do lots of longer term things.
The most obvious change, but I think this then links in with all the others too, the most obvious change is that the area looks different. And so you've gone from an area which was very high percentage decaying council flats to an area with a lot of new high quality mixed tenure housing.
If you just look around Devonport, you've got the dental school, the Cumberland Centre, all the schools have benefited by it. There's so much in the area. The people in Devonport have benefited by it because they've been put through different courses that they couldn't have done. And the neighbourhood police, the bobbies on the beat as we call them, were absolutely wonderful. They changed our area completely.
What I'm hearing about the plans for the big society, what we've been doing here would be anathema to that. The assumption is that communities, if they're not impeded by the state and at the national and the local level, will get on and look after themselves. It's hard not to think in terms of power dynamics and how people with a lot of power are making decisions over the lives of people with very little. My message would be, listen. I don't get a sense that those in those positions of power are really looking, listening, coming out and seeing the work that's being done by the infrastructure that's being dismantled, seeing the real lives of people who are in very vulnerable positions. Have the conversation, engage now and listen, and therefore whatever changes you deem necessary, at least have a real insight into the impact of that, again, even on your own terms.